Hello, my friends. It is time for another CG Public Health Fox 411 and Kiss Country Neighborhood News. CG Public Health, of course, is out at Plaza West Shopping Center. They're also cghealth.com online. Today, it's the lovely Edie from McNider Arts. Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. It must be festival time.
Yes, it
It's
is
June.
festival time. Right after band festival, we move right into arts festival. So.
One weekend after the next. That's right.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, close. There's one in between, but yeah.
Right. Well, let's get into it. It's one day, right? Saturday?
It's one day. We have it one day. We sort of do everything at once. We used to have it over several days, kind of strung out, but it just got to be too hard with finding volunteers and people being busy. So now we do it all together. So, and I actually think it's better that way. It gives it much more of a full festival atmosphere. So, yeah, so the day starts out with the mayor and city council's free pancake breakfast.
Pancakes!
And so I know who doesn't like pancakes. You can't go wrong with pancakes. So they start serving those at 9 a.m. And I urge people to get there, right at 9, because when they run out, they run out. We only buy like so much batter. And then when it's done, it's done. So it usually lasts to about 10, maybe 10:30. It just depends on how many people are in line. But sometimes they'll even start serving early, but it starts at 9.
Are you limited to one pancake a person, or how many do I get?
They usually do, I think, two medium-sized pancakes is what they do. And then there's 2 sausage with it as well, too. So it's not just pancakes. So
I bet that's pretty popular. And I want to say that you stay pretty steadily busy all day.
Yes, exactly. So in the morning, we are the busiest, partially because of the pancake breakfast. So I would say the craziest time to come to a festival is between 9 and 1. And also a lot of little kids come in the morning so they can take naps in the afternoon. But if you don't want it to be super crowded when you're at a festival, it's a lot easier to come between 1 and 5, but it's busy all day. It's busy all day.
So what are people doing at this festival besides eating pancakes?
Well, there's a whole slew of, free music and things like that, are available to, people. We have like art activities for kids. We have art market artists. So I can talk a little bit about the kids' art activities because I have the examples. We always like to have examples so you know what your project's going to look like when you're done.
Or it's fun to be on video.
Yeah. And so the theme this year is create waves. So our first thing is a jellyfish. See on my camera. I got the public health thing in the way. So the first thing is a jellyfish that you're going to make.
That's cool.
Like a shower cap and ribbons.
That's a big jellyfish.
Yeah, it is.
And then we have a lobster.
Oh, there you go.
So what's the difference between a lob and a crabster?
Yep.
What? You mean a lobster and a crab?
Yeah. Put the two together.
A lob.
Then we have I don't know if you guys can see this or not.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's a seahorse, but it's made using cupcake filters or fillers. Like cupcake.
That's
that
awesome.
you make
Yeah.
brownies and stuff with. And then this is a clam shell and
With
it's
a
got
pearl
in it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love it. Yeah. That's cool.
This is one of my favorites. This is sand and glitter. And you use a styrofoam tray like you get meat on. And it's a starfish.
Very good.
And it's kind of like puffy like a starfish.
Right.
This is a stingray.
Oh, now I see. Sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what that. I thought it was a frying pan at first.
And then a pufferfish, which although it's flat, it's they do splatter paint to make it.
Okay. Oh, pufferfish. Is that one of those where it blows up itself up?
Yes.
As a huge,
Yep, huge like that. So little fins attached on the side, little nose, a little mouth. And then we always have things like a bouncy house and the imagination playground blocks are out. And you can make stepping stones. That's been a tradition here for 20, 30 years. We've been having stepping stones, so people have them every year from all their kids and now grandkids. So, and all the craft activities for festival are free. The only one that isn't is the Bouncy House, and that's because we have to pay for it, essentially. And then the stepping stones, I think, are a couple bucks because of the cement and all the expense, related to that. But otherwise, all the activities are free for the kids, and that's a good thing. We also have things like easel painting, which a lot of kids don't get to experience because it's a really messy activity, and people don't want it in their own home, right? So they'll bring them to the festival, so they get to throw paint on an easel, a little apron and that, and it's a really fun experience for the kids. We hang them all up, and it's really cool.
I can picture a lot of kids. I mean, obviously it's a family event, so you're bringing
it is.
Grandkids too, for that matter, and
Yep.
just everybody just getting involved and the kids having a blast.
Yeah. But we also have stuff for older kids as well, for adults. So
older kids, I like
older
that.
kids, if you will.
For older kids.
As I mentioned, we have several different bands throughout the day.
Yeah, let's talk music. Yeah.
Well, so Little Blue Stem is one of the ones I want to highlight, which is a local band. Then we have the municipal band. We have some other bands that are going to do more like folk singing with kids and Americana songs, things of that nature, for sing-alongs for kids, which we thought would be a really good interactive activity for them to do. A lot of times with the bands, you just sit back and listen. And so we thought that this would be kind of a change of pace and a fun thing to do. So that goes from 9 to 5 the whole day. And then the other thing I like to always mention is the art market. And that's one of the biggest parts of the festival. We have 22 art market artists, so quite a few, and they're from all over Iowa and southern Minnesota. They are people who this is how they make their living, or a substantial part of their living usually, and you can go and buy something that's unique from them. Photography, prints, there's textile artists that do rugs and things of that nature. Quite a few jewelry artists. We have artists that make things out of found materials. We've had artists in the past that, for example, they'll make a clock out of an old book and things like that. Pottery is one of the most popular ones that we have. Metal sculpture, so they'll have things like dragons and things like that are sculpted out, and then different colored glass put in them that you can use in your yard. So a huge variety of artists. And I like to remind people this is the excellent way to buy, if you have a wedding coming up, a wedding gift for somebody, if you have a, something like a birthday, and you don't know what to get them, and you don't want to get them something boring, this is definitely unique. One of the things I like to do is just buy different like bowls, and so I always have an interesting cereal bowl or an interesting salad bowl.
That's a great idea.
Bowls are kind of mismatched, but then it's like interesting because they're all different.
All different, yeah. I like that idea. I mean,
so many different activities going on throughout the day, Edie. What's it going to cost everybody for a family?
Well, that's a good point. So it's free. So that's one of the things I like to point out to people, that if you go to a festival like this in Des Moines or Minneapolis, Chicago, you'll pay an entrance fee just to get into the gate. You'll pay for, every activity you do, every different part that you go to. And this is 100% free because of the sponsors that we have. We do that because the community really needs this. This is not something that, we're typically a blue collar family type atmosphere, and people don't necessarily have the access to art in Mason City that they do in these larger cities. And so for us, it's really important for them to have this experience. We want to make it very accessible.
Edie, are you pretty much the only arts festival between like Des Moines and Minneapolis?
Yeah, so one of the things that I always like to point out that people don't realize is that there is nobody like us for 120 miles in any direction.
That's great.
So we are the largest we're one of the largest in the state of Iowa. We're one of the larger ones in the Midwest. People don't realize that, but we are.
Wow.
And we're also the only thing like us in a 9-county area. I mean, we just had a girl the other day that she had taken a ceramic class here and they were in town, so they stopped to get their pottery pieces. And, you know, we have people who drive from Hampton, Algona to use our facility. I mean, because there is nothing like this. I'm thinking probably Sioux City in one direction or Sioux Falls. Waterloo Art Center, I think, is a little smaller than us. So probably Cedar Rapids, Minneapolis, and then Des Moines.
That's amazing to hear, because having it come from Mason City, you wouldn't think that it would be one of the biggest ones in the state.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
great.
We are, in fact, with the state legislature, we're called a cultural leadership partner because we're one of the top in the state. So we're like
Wow.
the Figgy and Davenport, and you know, our partners are, you know, the bigger places. Where of all the state has, I think, about 5 municipal museums, and we're by far the largest. We're 20,000 square feet. When we started, we were 6,000 square feet. So that's how much we've grown. And we've done it because we've had a very supportive community. Things like the Arts Festival. We have people coming to Arts Festival now and bringing their kids that came here as young children because we started in 1966. So some of our board members, we were going through and looking at some old festival stuff, and there were pictures of them participating in festival activities, you know, when they were kids, and they're now on our board, which I think is very, very interesting, you know, that, you know, that's how we've nurtured and grown.
Well, and that's a good point. And along with that, I mean, how do you guys survive? I know you're a nonprofit, but you survive through community events like this, but you can have them for free.
Yeah.
But do you get some grants and things like that from the state, or?
Yes. So we are a department of the city of Mason City, but what people don't realize is that it takes about $500,000 to run this every year, which
Wow.
is quite a bit for a nonprofit. So the city gives us about half of that, so about 250,000 ish, give or take, and then we raise the remainder. I raise the remainder through grants, classes, donations. For example, for festival, you know, we have a list of sponsors and we ask for a couple $100, you know, for all the sponsors to be on there. Some of the larger ones are like Principal Foundation will give us a large grant every year. The state of Iowa, because we act as a leader to all the other cultural organizations sort of in our region, we are a cultural leadership partner. So because of that, then we do things for them. And they give us an operating grant. And that funding is really important because people don't realize how much a little nick can really, really devastate a nonprofit that really just breaks even every year, if that makes sense.
Jay, I've always said that I've always thought McNider was just one of the best kept secrets in town because a lot of people know they exist. They're just not there enough. But you can get memberships, right?
Yeah, so you can get a membership, and that allows you to get discounts on the museum shop. It allows you to take classes for very little. Certain levels of membership, you can have free kids' birthday parties and things like that. You know, it's always a challenge for people to understand why they would want a membership for a free museum. But essentially, you're participating in this gift for the community. And our memberships range from $40 to $1,000. So there's this huge range. We even have memberships for youth. So if just your kid is interested and this is something that they want to do, youth memberships and college student memberships start at like, I think $25 or something like that. And then, you know, a lot of times if you buy a youth membership, it pays for itself in just one summer of classes, you know, and that's the other thing is, you know, we do a lot of these classes, yes, to educate the public, but that's how we raise funds for things like festival. Festival costs probably about $30,000 for us to put on. And so we need to raise all that money, you know, for that between the staff time, the advertising, and everything from pancakes. I mean, the pancake breakfast just doesn't happen. You know, it costs money to feed 400 people
Sure.
pancakes for free.
Of course it does. Edith,
Yeah.
do you have a Facebook event, McNider Arts Festival?
Yes, we do. So we have them kind of divided into two different things. So we have one based on the arts festival that's a kid oriented, and then we have one that is about the art market artists. And we did that because a lot of the art market artists really want to highlight their products and things like that. And so you might get an invite from me for both things. And we do encourage you, if you've never been to festival, if you've never been to the museum, this is the best way to go because it really is a fun festival atmosphere. It's free, even if you don't come for the free pancakes. I mean, sometimes I see people that the only time of year they come to the museum is art festival, and that's fine by me. If that's the way that we can, touch them,
Right.
I always like to say, people are really intimidated by art, right? They think they have to know about it and understand it and be able to give like a thesis when they look at it.
Yeah.
But they don't. They just have to have a good time. And so festival is a way to be exposed to art in kind of a non-threatening manner. It's a good time, right? What's not a good time about it,
Well, and you said the word earlier. I think everything about you guys at the McNider Art Museum is unique. I mean, really.
Oh, thank you.
It's always unique. And I think
Mhm.
everybody needs a little unique in their life.
Yeah.
Even you, Jay. You need some unique.
Yes.
I'm
Well,
serious.
we have all kinds of
Yeah.
programs and stuff that we do here. I mean, people wouldn't think it, but we have 4-H groups where we come and we do a tour of an exhibit. For example, we had an exhibit a couple years ago called The American Farmer, and it was photography of different farming situations all over the United States, including like blueberry farmers and tobacco farmers and salmon farmers, and because that's more. And so you wouldn't think of an FFA or 4-H group coming here for tours or us catering to them, but we really serve a lot of different aspects of our community. We have outreach classes that we do at Prairie Ridge that work with the folks that are there working on their problems with addiction.
Mhm.
We work and do classes with Salvation Army, specifically on memory. We go to about half of the nursing homes in North Iowa and work with them and their residents for art therapy. We work with Mercy Hospital. We work with NIAC to teach like first generation students. They oftentimes will do an art class together to kind of bond and such. So we really work in all the different areas. Like you'd never guess that we would be doing addiction therapy classes at Prairie Ridge, but that's we go there like 4 times a month.
I think that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
So
people need to get out of self a little bit, and
yeah.
for God's sakes, learn. And I don't care how old you are.
The thing is that some, they always say when you ask a group of kids, we say, "Are you an artist?" All the kids will raise their hands, and if you ask a group of adults that, none of them will raise their hands because they think somehow
Right.
that art has to be perfect or good. But it's just about self-expression, and especially at places like Prairie Ridge or Salvation Army, that's the therapy in it. Is you're letting what's in the inside out.
That's awesome.
And for a lot of people, it's very transformational.
Jay, you got to get your grandkids down there for different
You
things.
do.
I know it. I know.
Yeah.
You got to get down here to the McNider Arts Festival. It's coming up on Saturday. It's June 11th.
It is. It is June 11th, and it's always the second Saturday. I do know that there's other things going on in the community, but we like to think that we can share the space with everybody else. So come to us for a little bit and then go on to some of the other activities.
Yes, get there for your pancakes early in the morning, starting at 9 o'clock.
Yes, free pancakes. Line up at 6 a.m. for those pancakes.
My grandson loves pancakes, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man.
Don't forget all the info is at McNiderArt.org, by the way. That's McNider Art. That's with an MACNIDER art.
And you can also follow us on, we're super cool. So we're like on Twitter, we're like on Instagram, all that stuff. We're totally hip with all that sort of stuff. So if you look us up on most of the platforms, we even had a Snapchat filter for a while. I don't know if we still have one. So
it's always good to get together and talk with different organizations in the community, and that's what this Fox 411 and Kiss Country Neighborhood News is all about. And it's brought to you by the Sarasota County Department of Public Health, and you can always check them out on cgpublichealth.com and for all the latest there. So, but Edie, thank you so much for joining us here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a great festival.
Yep.
Have a super day. All right.